What's up, my writing weirdos? I'm BC, and this is BC Brown Books, where we like to get weird about words in the ways that only writers can. And if you can't tell, for this evening, I have more insomnia. Actually, it's not that I really have insomnia at this point, because I was able to sleep last night with no problem, but I woke up feeling just like crap in general. So I ended up taking a nap this afternoon, so my brain is tired right now because my brain knows that I should be sleeping, but my body is not tired. And I figured since my body is not tired and it's not going to let me lay down, I might as well get some writing in. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm actually going to work on my dark fantasy novel, which I just finished the first draft of on Friday, very early morning on Friday on another person's stream. And I literally typed the words "the end." So I'm so super excited because I have started my second draft. And for those that didn't catch my Friday normal sprint time that I do from 3:30 till 5:30 p.m., I type my second, I type all of my second drafts like from hand, like from scratch, from hand. Of course I type them by hand. I type them from scratch. So that is my big thing that I do. And a lot of people think that it's like extra work, and it is extra work because typing it from scratch is a big deal, but I really enjoy doing it, and it lets me go back and actually correct all of the mistakes that I did in the first draft. And believe me, there are tons of mistakes in the first draft. And it lets me go in and fill in, because in first drafts, I don't go back and fill in things. If I come to a scene that I'm struggling with, then I just skip the scene. I put a few notes in there, and then I talk about, hey, I'm going to go back and do this scene later. And that allows me to just skip ahead and get on with the rest of the story and the parts of the story that I know I'm going to be writing. So that's kind of my big thing, is that's where I'm at right now. As a matter of fact, tonight I am on a section of my first draft that literally just has, like, in brackets, it has needs seen between the queen and her retainer, and make this a romantic relationship, and let's see what else, what does it say? Need seen between queen and retainer, make this a romantic relationship. Queen is still pregnant at this time. So, I mean, that's literally what I have in there. I don't have anything telling me what else I should be writing in this particular scene. All I know is that I'm going to have to tie it between the previous scene and the next scene in the story, which means that since this is still an introductory scene with this particular character from this particular character's viewpoint, I'm going to have to go in and talk more about this character's backstory a little bit, and how she became the queen, or why she's in this romantic relationship with this retainer. You know, I'm not sure exactly. That's what I'm going to have to do. So we got a couple people here. Clara is here. Always good to see you. I am really happy that you enjoy my write-ins when I pop up or when I'm on a regular basis coming in, and that you enjoy yourself and have a good time. That's really important to me. I always wonder sometimes, because, you know, when I'm on by myself, it's easy when you're on with a co-host, because you can kind of bounce off of them and you can go back and forth with conversation. But when I'm on with myself, it's just usually me just rambling and being the big old weirdo that I am. And, you know, it's just me being nerdy about words, which is like my big thing. I'm just nerdy about words. I can't help it. So I always wonder if anybody actually enjoys the streams, but apparently y'all do, so I am glad to hear that. That makes my big old heart swell, or not my big heart, but it makes my heart get big and swell. So it's so happy. I'm so happy about that. Hey, Sage, always good to see you. Hope things are going well in South Africa today. And hopefully you're not as cold as you were the other day. I know you said you were freezing to death the other day. So I'm going to do stuff a little bit differently tonight than what I've done in the past. Before, I have always put up, during the writing sprints, I have oh God, that lemonade is really, really tart. So before, in the past, I have always put up a timer on the screen during our sprints that count down to the time for however long we're doing our sprints for. But the other day I actually started, or I guess I should say yesterday, it was Friday. Wait, today is officially Sunday now. Okay, so the other day, on Friday, I ended up putting up my document on the screen, and you could watch me write my story as I was doing my second draft, which included sections of the story like today where I have no information. I just have some notes in there telling me how to write this scene. So basically, you get to, if you want to, watch me write from scratch and watch my process, which is not something that I'm not saying you have to watch me do, but I thought it would be nice to just be able to see what my kind of process is, and see me write my second draft of my story. I'll of course have a timer that will do, but it will be a timer that is on my phone, and so it'll be an auditory only timer, audio only timer. That will go off, and then of course there will be me talking afterwards saying, hey, but I'll put something up on the screen, like a note on the screen that says when the official sprint will be ended. So that I will do as well. Okay, so still cold out there, but at least you're nice and cozy in bed with your laptop, so that's important. I am clearly not in bed with my laptop. I wish I were, but if I were, I would definitely be keeping my partner awake, and just because I'm awake doesn't mean that he has to be awake. So trying to be nice. So I figure what we will do is we'll probably get started with a sprint here in just a minute, because again, when I do these pop-up streams, it's really just about me being social with people while I'm writing, because I'm already writing anyway, and I figure some other people might want to write along with me, get weird, write along. Have to set up my screen share so that you can see my document that I'm working in. So this is my second draft of my dark fantasy book. Like I said, on Friday, I finished my first draft of the story, and I am going back through and I am doing the second draft from scratch, because during my first draft, I don't use the backspace button at all, hardly at all, I guess I should say. So there are tons of typos, tons of grammatical problems, lots of notes to myself that are just in there in bold in between some brackets, all sorts of screwy stuff. If I start writing something and it goes in totally the wrong direction that I need it to go in, then I don't even bother with deleting it out of there. I actually just pull back, I'll space a couple of lines, and then I will just start over again. So that's kind of one of the things that I do during my first draft. So my first draft is a hot mess. If you ever get a chance to look at one, it is absolutely a hot freaking mess. So my second draft, I am putting into the Kindle Create app, which I've downloaded onto my Mac. And the reason I'm doing that is for two reasons. One, it's much easier to see on the screen, like you can see it here. It's much easier to see on the screen and follow along with it. The second reason is to go ahead and get an idea of how long my book is going to be in general, so that, because somewhat towards the end of this document, I will start working with a cover artist. So sometime before my third draft, I will start working with a cover artist, and I like to be able to give them at least the basic parameters of my book. So Sage says that they're working on updating their CV and getting their Fiverr profile set up so they can try and get some income ASAP, since I don't know what kind of severance I'm getting. Ooh, that's not good news, Sage. Not good news at all. I'm sorry to hear that. Believe me, I understand. I didn't get any severance from my last job that I was at either, mainly because it was a nonprofit organization, and I wouldn't have even taken a severance from them if they had offered it to me, but they didn't offer it to me. But it really sucks not having that severance in place, or not knowing what kind of a severance you're going to have in place. So that does really suck, and I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, so everybody tell me what it is that you are working on I see that we've got a few people that are watching for the night, and so let me know what it is that you're I can't word tonight. Let me know what it is that you will be working on for the night, whether or not you're editing, you're going to clean your house, you're going to paint a picture, you're going to write some words. Doesn't matter what it is. Just being productive. That's what all the sprints are about. And then here in just a minute, we will get started with our first sprint. And I am going to go ahead and do a 20-minute sprint to begin with. So let me get my timer, not a timer up on the screen, but let's see, it is, I've got to calculate the time. So that will make it 2 o'clock in the morning my time, which makes it 5 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so the sprint time is going to end at 5 a.m. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, when things get moved up, I knew that the last job that I was at, I had a feeling that they were going to let me go as well. I thought I had more time to to get all my ducks in a row, but I didn't. So that kind of really sucked. But it's okay because it allowed me to do a whole bunch of other stuff that I'd been wanting to do and had been putting off. So it ended up being kind of good in the long run. It was bad at first, like immediately at first, it was bad. And then for a very brief while, it was not the greatest. But then, like just at the first of the year, I was like, you know what? I have all this time now to do all this stuff that I've been wanting to do. So I might as well just freaking do it. And so it's been good ever since then. So it's been a good thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the first sprint, which is now, because I talked, going to be slightly different for the time that it ends. So it's going to be ending at 5:03. I'm going to put that up on the screen. So we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, sprint. Okay, that is the end of our first sprint, which is 20 minutes long. Let me know down in the comments how you did. Hey, Danny, good to see you. Oh, there we go. That's what I meant to do. I meant to take that down. There we go. All right, so I think I'm doing okay so far this evening. So in this scene, which I have nothing in to begin with, in this scene, I had introduced this queen of this country. I've introduced the fact that she is a very new queen, that she is in mourning, and a widow, and that she's pregnant, and that she has a romantic relationship with her steward. So that's pretty much everything that I've introduced so far within this scene, which is not too bad for, let's see, 1, 2, 2.5 pages. Plus, I've also started to introduce some of her backstory into the scene in a manner of little micro flashbacks, which I'm not a big fan of flashbacks to begin with, but I also don't hate them entirely as long as they're not huge chunks of flashback that slows down the story. If it can be peppered in, I'm usually okay with it, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but I'm hoping it does and that it works all right. So I'm not sure how I feel about this particular, I'm not sure how I feel about this particular scene and how it's going yet at the moment, but I haven't gotten too much into it yet. So we'll kind of see how that's going. Hey, Danny, no problem. Yeah, I usually really like having a co-host. I'm more than happy to send you the link to the stream now, and you could pop on if you wanted to. I'm good with that as well. So I understand if you can't, though, because, it's like last second kind of a thing. You might have the kiddo, you might have something going on. That I completely understand. All I know is it's incredibly hot in my house tonight. Like, really, really hot in here tonight. I could have sworn the air just kicked on a few minutes ago, and yet for some reason it's super hot in here. So let me see here. So I think I'll probably go ahead and do another sprint here in a few minutes. I want to give everybody a chance, though, to let me know in the comments how you did during that last sprint. What you're working on, stuff like that. Hey, Micah, it looks like I missed you before the sprint on saying hey. If you popped in before the sprint, I wasn't sure, or maybe it was during the sprint. I think it was during the sprint because that's when Danny popped in as well. I think. I don't know. My brain's not working very well tonight. That's my roommate that was in the background that y'all saw. He just got home for the evening. He's seeing this new girl, and she is really freaking amazing. So I'm glad that he was hanging out. I think he was hanging out with her at least. It's either that or he's hanging out with some of his friends. I don't know. I don't keep track. But you're going to see him bopping around in the background just a little bit because he's actually up tonight. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing another sprint, of which I may step away from the computer for just a minute, and so I can go check my air conditioning and see what's going on. It says on my phone that it's working fine and everything, but I may go and look at it and see. It happens, Sage. I have YouTube go on the fritz for me all the time. No problem. I understand. It's always good to spend time with your significant other while you can. So, yeah, the only bad thing, Danny, is for these sprints for me, or for these streams for me, they're usually very pop-up and they're not planned. They're just like hey, I happen to be awake and I'm working, so I might as well work with other people. But I can let you know a little more in advance in the future and be like, because usually I know within an hour or two before I'm going to do one because I'm wide awake. And I'm just like, well, I might as well just do a sprint at a certain time, do a stream at a certain time. So I will let you know more in the future. I'm also kind of toying with the notion of doing another stream, either early in the morning for me on one of the days or late at night like this on one of the days during the week. I don't know so much about the weekend because I like to spend time with my partner and I like to go to bed at the same time that they do, but it doesn't always work well that way because I sleep more during the day than he does, and I take more naps than he does, so I tend to be awake at night, and he tends to go to bed on time, which is weird. A weird dynamic because it used to be that he was the one up at night all the time, but not so much anymore. Let me see here. Sage is gonna grab some brunch, but okay, I understand, Sage. I think I'm gonna check my air conditioning, so I think we're gonna do another sprint just to get it going. I will have my document up on the screen, but let's do another 20-minute sprint. But I'm not going to work on that document right away. Oops. I am going to, I'm going to go check my air conditioning first. So we're going to get started here in just a few seconds with another 20-minute sprint so that we can get some more writing in, because I want to finish this scene and get started on the next scene before the end of tonight's stream. So hopefully I can do that. If I can get this scene done and another scene done, I will be rolling in the happiness. I will be rolling in the wordy happiness. But if I can just get this scene done because it had zero information in it, it just had brackets telling me, hey, you need to write this shit at some point, then I'll be incredibly happy with it. Okay. Let me grab that, Danny, and there is a link for you to pop in for just a little bit. We can hang out for a little bit on screen. Hi, Danny.
Hey, how are you? You doing good?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing tonight or today? Whatever time it is for you.
What time is it over there? Just after 5?
It is my time. It is 2:45 in the morning.
Wow. So not that early.
Well, I mean, it's late, early, late, whatever you want to consider it.
I suppose. Yeah, if you haven't slept yet, then it's late.
Yeah, I haven't slept yet, so it's late.
No, that's good. Well, I've actually got to write something, so this works out perfectly.
Oh, hey, yeah. That's a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I've been pretty good with my writing routine, but when I seen you, I was just like, yeah, this is a good time to get some words down. I've got to write the first part of a challenge that I'm going to be putting on my channel, so
yeah,
got to be productive.
So are you working on something longer, or are you working on like something short, or what are you working on?
So what I'm doing is Katie Wilson and I did a challenge about 4 months ago now, maybe longer, maybe 5 months ago, called the Wrench Challenge that we came up with together. And we pick a song title, we write 250 words just based off the song title. And then after that, I sent her a thing called a wrench, which is just something that I came up with that she had to write into her story, not knowing what she had written, and she has no idea what I'm sending her. So, you know, for example, she could be writing a song, writing off a song that's like a love song and writing a romantic, and then I send like an alien invasion that she's got to try and write into that story. So I'm writing I got to write the first. I got 250 words or so of like a little short story, and then my wife has actually got something in store for me that she's going to give me that I've got to try and write into it. And once I've done that, I'll make the video, and then I'll tag a bunch of people to try it, and then they tag a bunch of people and see what happens.
Okay, so you're doing almost like a kamikaze style collaboration.
Kind of, yeah.
I love it. I love it. It'd be fun. I did something like that, kind of similar to that. Only some friends and I, we wrote novellas, so it was like a 20,000 word piece, and we had to figure out how to write our piece based on the pieces that came before it.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to do.
Yeah, I can imagine. I should have styled my beard to suit your hair.
Yeah.
Just have the. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, you could have just had the like the little buns on either side, you know.
Yeah, just like this sort of thing. Just do a whole video like that on my channel and don't tell anyone why, and just see what happens.
Just be like, if you don't know, then it doesn't matter.
That's right. If you don't get the joke, I don't know you. I was actually thinking I was going to do like a writing vlog, but it was going to be totally scripted. I was going to have like a good solid 5 minutes straight of me like in time lapse typing on the keyboard, and then at the end of it lean back and go, so I've just ordered a pizza or something like that, and I just paid for my registration online. Yeah, it's time to write a story.
Yeah, now it's time to do some other stuff.
Yes, Sage, there are people. I'm glad I'm classed as people.
Yeah. It's good. It's good to be categorized.
Yeah.
Although there are times
I've only done one live stream solo, and it was okay, but I think you've got to have someone else there.
Yeah, I mean, I like. There are times where I'm totally fine with not having somebody else on the live stream, but it has to be like one of those rare times when both my brain and my body are like cooperating with each other, and I have a bunch of energy, kind of a thing. But other than that, I like having a co-host on that I can just chat with and bounce back and forth with.
Oh yeah, absolutely, I love it.
I have like the tartest lemonade in the world tonight. It's really good, but it's like every time I take a drink,
just got like that aftertaste that sort of hits you, like a bit of a tang.
Yeah, just a little bit of a tang to make enough that right after I take a drink, like a couple of seconds later, it's like,
you're like, ugh, I shouldn't have done that. But then you do it again anyways.
Then I do it again. Yeah, because it tastes good for the initial drink.
Yeah, yeah. It must be good for that initial bit to make it worth going for the second bit.
It really is just because I'm too lazy to get up and get something else to drink.
Yeah. I haven't even brought a drink in, and now I'm getting thirsty. Sorry, I used part of the sprint.
Yeah.
I'll sprint to the fridge.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sprint to the air conditioner and figure out what the heck is going on. So, because it is so hot in our house tonight.
Yeah. Oh, we got a cold out here at the moment.
Yeah. We've just started hitting, like we weirdly had like one of our first dust storms, and our dust storms don't normally happen for another couple of months.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm trying to figure out if our monsoon season is going to start early, or all I know is it feels like it's hot enough to go ahead and start.
Well,
not loving it.
We don't really get monsoons out here. We get cyclones, but that's about it.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would want that per se. We just get big monster dust storms, and then those herald the monsoons.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I suppose there's not many people out there walking around going, geez, I could go a cyclone right now. It's been way too calm around here.
Just not enough nearly going on.
Yeah, there's too many trees still vertical. We need them falling over.
So apparently Sage is happy with the mouth puckery lemonness of her lemonade and
5
pie.
times as much lemon juice.
Okay.
Very lemony.
Very lemony. Very lemony.
Very good.
All right, so let's try this sprint thing and do another one of those. And I can actually put a timer up on the screen this time rather than have my document on the screen.
Sometimes I wonder whether it's like good to just leave the timer off the screen, because I think if you get in the zone, you don't even see it, don't even think about it.
We could do that.
Concentration.
Yeah, we could do that.
I might be the only one. I don't know.
And we'll make a call and say that that's it. Oh, that's not going to be right time now. Let's see, what time is it? So it's 18 after. So do we want to do a 20-minute or we want to do a 15-minute?
20 minutes will work. That's fine.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do 21 minutes. That makes it a good even.
Makes it an equilateral triangle.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So the sprint will end at 5:40 a.m. Eastern time. It's so hard to do that on the screen. It's just like, oh, got to calculate times.
And
All
even
right.
then, it doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything to a lot of people. It's just like, okay, it's close enough.
When it's 7:40, that's like it's 7:40 or 7:19 here at the moment. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like when it's 40 after, that's when it's important.
Done.
All right. So we will get started in 3, 2, 1, sprint. That's the end of that 20-minute sprint,
Sure.
of which I didn't get a whole lot of writing done because I got distracted as crap by a cute cat. He's done this thing lately where he like refuses to let me work without laying beside me. So he's either got to like lay down behind me or.
You got me wondering just then whether my cat was behind me, because we've got two cats, one of which is usually always right behind me whenever I'm in here. I've got to be careful not to move my chair back and run over her. Or she'd be a flat cat.
Yeah, so we have 3 now. And
Oh, wow.
Our older cat, he couldn't give 2 shits about whether or not I'm working. He just is off doing his own thing. But the kittens, they're all about like being under my feet and under my chair, but especially Spot. Spot wants to be on my desk, and he wants to be like doing and seeing whatever it is that I'm doing. And he's particularly fascinated by the cursor moving on the screen while I'm writing. So he's like trying to play with it.
Doing this?
Yeah, he's playing with it as I'm writing, and he's getting in my way. And anyway, so he managed to distract me. I don't know what's going on with my air conditioning. I changed out my filter, hoping that that'll do it and not make me as miserable.
Fair enough.
I figure it's a good thing. So, were you able to be pretty productive during the sprint, or?
Yeah, well, because I'm trying to come up with the story at the same time, off the cuff, off a song title. So I got 261 words.
Not bad.
But I'm in a pretty good spot here to basically set myself up for whatever my wife has in store for me that I've got to write in. And it could, like, I put myself in a position where this could go really weird. But we like weird here, don't we?
We like weird. We're good with weird. Yeah. So I advanced the scene a little bit more. I'm still trying to figure out in this scene where I know what I need it to achieve, but I'm trying to figure out how to get it there, And so I'm trying to introduce these characters and make sure that it's all balanced while I introduce them in this one particular scene. And so that's where I'm getting at the moment. I like this. Chasing Epiphany says a flat cat is just a very big flying squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like Sage took a couple of Fiverr tests during the sprint, so at least now my English language skill is Fiverr verified. That's so important.
Fiverr tests? But like Fiverr do a service where you can test your English or something like that.
Yeah. So in order to be verified under certain things, you have to take their little tests that they have. So if you want to be verified as an editor, as a line editor, you have to take a small test, kind of a thing. So.
That makes sense.
So Maka was finishing something for one of the courses I recently signed up for during the sprint. Cool.
Cool. This is just a little project, but yes, like last night I wrote about 550 words of my next novel, work in progress. And then about 800 words of a short story. Short story is only going to be about 3,000 words long. Not going to be too long. But it's amazing how sometimes, like, if you've got an idea in your head, you can sit down, you can write a start to finish. Like, so easy. And that's what the short story is like. Just coming out of me, barely any effort. Work in progress, totally different story because there's a lot of logistics involved. It's a one man versus 20 in an abandoned factory, and he's a very combat savvy person, so I've got to try and make it realistic and believable, but he's got to come out on top too.
Yeah.
And make it awesome.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So the third book in my paranormal mystery series, it's taking a lot to make it shape up to the way it needs to shape up to, but adding the scenes to the second draft of my dark fantasy series, which I'm doing tonight, easy peasy. Like, Don't know what it is. I mean, I'm still having to struggle a little bit because I'm writing in a scene to other scenes that exist.
Yeah.
So I'm having to stitch it together, but still easy compared to, coming up with the first draft of the other.
Yeah.
So Lloyd was wondering what program I'm using to write with. They didn't recognize when I saw it earlier. So the program that I'm using tonight is the Kindle Create program. Mainly because I like the way it looks whenever I highlight it on the screen, and it gives me an idea of what my word count is going to be later when I go and self-publish it. So I guess I could take this.
I just use Microsoft Word for everything.
So I used to use Microsoft Word for everything, and then when I switched from PC to Mac, you have to buy Word separately if you want Mac, and I'm just too much of a cheapskate to go ahead and buy it. So I use Google Docs for my first draft of everything.
Yeah.
But I've decided to go ahead and start using, because I like to have an idea towards the end of my second draft, I like to have an idea of how long the story is going to be, how many pages it's going to be. That way when I start talking to cover artists, I can be like, tentatively, it's in the range of this many pages right now. Because I could edit out a lot of stuff and I could add in a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to add so much in that it's going to make that much difference in cover art.
Yeah.
So that's why I do that. Sage also ate cheesecake for brunch. Cheesecake sounds good.
Just plain cheesecake, or are we talking like caramel cheesecake, chocolate, vanilla?
We tossed some strawberries on that. What are we doing with that cheesecake?
Plain cheesecake's almost too plain.
I don't know. I could still eat a plain cheesecake and just be totally happy with it. I was so upset the other day that they had cheesecake that they added to the menu of one of the local drive-through like mom and pop burrito joints here in town.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cheesecake, that should be interesting. It was the strangest cheesecake in the world, but I don't know what I can expect because it was at like this mom and pop Mexican restaurant. So it's not like I was getting. Yeah, it was their take on it.
Yeah. I love cookies and cream cheesecake. It's like a Bavarian, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's bad. I've got to eat healthier. Healthy food's boring.
I need to seriously eat healthier. I don't.
I've been looking into it. I did it when I did this social media video. I was looking at how dopamine works with food, and how you train your body and your mind, and especially your tongue, to be desensitized to taste. So when you eat food with high volumes of flavor regularly, food that's generally healthier, that's not as flavoursome, tastes quite boring in comparison. And the only thing you can do is take like a junk food, like Exodus, like a junk food, what do you call it?
Oh, just like a detox,
basically. Yeah, and basically, and then do that for 24 hours, and then come back and start eating healthier. And even then, it can take about a week before you start really enjoying the healthy food again. I know, it sounds bad, doesn't it?
I know I'm gonna have to do it. It's probably something that I'm gonna end up having to do like when we get into the new house kind of a thing, which should be here, any day. But it's something that I've been telling myself I need to do, so I need to actually do it because my eating junk food has gotten out of control.
It's just the only real reason that we do it, well, I'm doing it as well, is that days at work can still get pretty busy, and it's a 9-hour workday or 10 hours, and coming home, and then we've got our son as well. He's full of energy. He wants to spend time with dad. So I want to spend time with him too. I've been working all day, so I spend time with him. And if the wife has been with him all day and he's been difficult to deal with, then the last thing she feels like is cooking like a really nice, healthy meal. Mm-hmm. And I'm knackered from work, and it's like we're running out of time. Let's just go get something. And that's when that's where it really happens, is when we're crunched for time and energy, and we start eating unhealthy.
Yeah.
So I've got to work on that. Generally people say the way to deal with that is pre-cook your meals. Then you've got healthy meals ready to just heat up. It takes, a couple of minutes in the microwave. It's just some things don't reheat that well.
Yeah, my partner and I, we used to meal prep a lot, like especially when both of us were working, because by the time we'd get home, like you said, you'd be completely knocked out and just be too tired to do anything. So we would meal prep for lunches, but we'd then meal prep for dinners too. But yeah, like you said, some things just, they don't reheat particularly well. They're just, or by the time you make enough variety that you still have variety between your meals each night, you're like, even then you can get sick of what the variety is that you pre-scheduled.
Yep.
Yeah. So we need to get back to it. A lot of it's been that he's working 2 jobs right now, and I'm trying to work in between, like when he's at his jobs. So while he's at his jobs, it's not like I'm turning around and cooking, because I'm trying to get my writing done while he's not home.
Yeah.
So by the time he gets home, the last thing we want to do is actually spend time cooking. We want to spend time with each other.
That's right.
So that's the big thing.
That's right. And then there's also the other thing where you spend a great deal of time cooking and it comes out bad.
Yes.
He's like, I'm just going to go buy something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, meal plan does help.
Yeah, it does help. Meal prep and meal plans, they do help.
I used to, when my son was younger, I used to eat a very strict diet. I used to eat a lot of just chicken breast and vegetables and peanut butter, because peanut butter's got healthy fats, and get baked potatoes or just slow cooked potatoes, because they got like starchy carbs, which are good carbs. I learned a lot about nutrition and a lot about exercise, and I was 110 kilos, which is like 250 pound or so, I guess. And I went from 110 kilos down to 85 kilos because I was eating healthy and I was exercising, and I was doing, every 2 days I was doing 120 push-ups, and then on top of that doing 6-7K walks, which is like a 3-4 mile walk, and then working out in my home gym. But that was when my son was young and didn't really, he's asleep most of the time, so he can do that. But now, as soon as I get home, he's pulling on my shirt, dragging me in. Oh, we played that. Come on, Dad, we play. And I was like, yeah. And it keeps me active. Like, I suppose I could just get on the ground and lift him up and down. But those days of those big workouts have just gone. And they'll come back. They'll come back when he's older and he's at school or something like that. When
he's a little less interested in you.
Yeah, when it's like, oh, it's just Dad.
Yeah, no, see, I mean, I don't have the the kid that I have to manage or anything like that. But my difficulty is that I take medication for like my chronic fatigue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all of the side effects for every medication I have to take is weight gain and increased appetite. Like, for every single one of them. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is not fair. I already have
and they just amplify.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I already have a sedentary job. I'm a writer. I mean, come on. And it's not like I'm like, I mean, I guess I could be like doing the little cycle pedals underneath the desk or something, but it's not like I'm getting up running around or doing anything. And I'm like, and on top of that, it's going to make me want to eat more, and it's going to make me gain weight. I'm like, that's just great.
Yeah. That's right. So I'm still like learning about everyone in AuthorTube. So you've published books. You got books on Kindle already, or?
Yeah, I do. So I have 7 titles out that are under my name.
7.
Just seven.
Yeah.
Only 6 of them are available right now. One of them is out of print, because the first book I published is out of print. But so I have 3 full-length novels, and then I have 3 short story anthologies that I've been part of.
Wow. That's really cool.
So.
And I'm sort of like, I'm way back. Like, I've been writing for only 2 years. And only in the last like 4 or 5 months has my writing really improved, because I'm learning about the overall like big picture stuff. when I first started writing, I was thinking that's just, your pretty lines and really sort of thought-provoking sentences would be enough to make a good story. And, obviously not, because it doesn't make any sense. And then, so I finished one first draft, working on my second work in progress, like novel. So the first draft a bit, while the other one's just put aside and, resting until I forget about it enough. And I've already written a short story, and I'm writing another short story. So I might look at getting some short stories edited and, put on Kindle or something like that, so people can read my work, see what the heck I'm all about. And they'll be able to see how I've learned as well. I will eventually have a novel out, absolutely, but it doesn't take too long.
Eventually, I'll have another one out, but as of right now, still working on a couple of them in progress.
So you're happy with the process of like what you've already done with the first 7? You're going to do that again for the next one?
Yeah. I've my first couple of books were really very, very big learning experiences for me. But after that, I kind of, once I figured out what I was doing as far as my writing, my publishing, and my marketing, like once I figured out what my plan was for each of those things, then it's really kind of formulaic at this point. The stories aren't, but the actual plan and how long it takes me to write a certain book, how long it takes me to edit it, cover art, publish it, market it, all of that just is kind of set and in place.
So you self-edit?
I partially self-edit. I don't just self-edit. So I am a freelance editor. I'm a freelance line editor. So I can do some of my own editing, and then I contract out for a developmental editor, and I contract out for a copy editor. And then I go one step further and contract out for an actual professional proofreader too.
Yeah.
So, hey,
That's
Grayson, good to see you. Yeah, doing pretty well. Can't sleep, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that point. I know my projects are pretty, well, I guess all projects are ambitious. My first one was very ambitious. I think it was about 3 struggling musicians getting invited to a music contest held in another world. And the winner claims an incredible prize of massive power. And it sounds cool, but that was a hard story to write.
So it's kind of like Mortal Kombat, but with music.
Mortal Kombat but with music, yeah.
Okay.
And dragons the size of Texas.
Okay.
So they're big dragons, but I finished it. It was really good because when I finished it and started like thinking about it once it's done, I started realizing that exactly what each character's true story is and what the sort of ethic of the whole story is in the first place. So when I revisit it, I already got an idea of how I'm going to change the story to suit what it really should be. But when I revisit it, I'm going to shape it into that. And then the one I'm writing right now is very different. It's like a contemporary action thriller with supernatural elements.
Okay.
But I won't shy away from any genre either. So if I've got a good romance story in my head, I'll write a romance.
Yeah.
Might have a few explosions.
I don't see any reason to shy away from any particular genre and writing a story. If it's a good story, it deserves to be written. Yeah. Now I do take into consideration when is a good time to release that story.
That's right.
And that's just that's strictly from a marketing angle and being in marketing for so many years. So my very first book that I published, the one that is no longer in print, it was a dark fantasy story. And the story that I am working on right now is actually the repurposed story from that first book. So the story is there, but the first book was, well, let's just face it, the first book was badly written. I was not a good writer at that point. I just was not a good, no, I take that back. I was a good writer. I just wasn't a very good storyteller at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I learned a lot about how to put together an actual book.
Yeah.
From that first book. But so this is a completely redone story from that original story. So with that first book, it was dark fantasy. And then when I went to publish my second book, or went to write my second book, it was paranormal mystery. And so what I needed to do was figure out how I was going to get my dark fantasy audience to follow me to paranormal mysteries, because they are considerably different.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I waited until I was at a point where I was rebranding my marketing.
Yeah.
Once I rebranded my marketing, it was easy to just present myself as a paranormal mystery author that happened to have a book that was dark fantasy.
Yeah.
So I was lucky, though. A lot of my fans followed me. So it wasn't a terrible book, but it was definitely not the best book that could have been written. And Lloyd here is one of my fans from my very first book. So
yeah.
I'm glad that you liked it, Lloyd. I appreciate that very much. It's much better written now. And when I re-release it, it will be much better written.
It's enhanced edition, definitive edition.
Yes, it will be the enhanced definitive edition that actually has all of the content in it that I wanted in it to begin with, but did not know how to put together into one volume.
That sounds good. Yeah, when I first started writing Voice of the Broken, my first work in progress, I sort of outlined it from a perspective of like plot points, but never fleshed out the characters beforehand. So I've just got this sort of like algorithm for each character in my mind, and I'm just sort of writing to that algorithm, but never really fleshed them out. But with this new work in progress, I've pretty well outlined the whole story. I got some major plot points, and I'm doing the plot points kind of in accordance to Save the Cat.
Okay.
And then I'm also, I've got a spreadsheet. It's got all my characters in every single one of them. And all it's doing is it's asking, what do they want? Why do they want it? What do they need? Why do they need it? And that absolutely, it really is handy to have that, because that allows me to know exactly what their dialogue is going to be like, because they're driven by that want. So the dialogue is accurate and believable. Their actions are accurate and believable. And also by doing that, I can identify their arc and their value shift, and then hopefully have a comprehensive set of characters. But we'll see. It could be total trash.
It could be, but it could not be. Yeah, I think it's really important. And I didn't do it with my first book. I didn't do it that way either, where I knew what my characters' wants and desires were and what their flaw. I didn't know what drove them. I didn't know what their flaws were, what their strengths were, what their general backstory was. I just wrote. Yeah. And I learned with my second book that I absolutely had to know what those motivations were before I could even start writing. So I started doing a lot of writing exercises, which I still do to this day, where I write whole scenes that are throwaway. They're never going to be in the book. They're never going to be part of the story anywhere or released in anything. But it tells me how a character is going to react, and or it'll tell me what happens if I change something minor or something major in a scene. How will it influence the rest of the book?
Yeah.
So Sage has a question for you.
Antipodean accent. I am from Australia, but I have a very lazy Australian accent. We're kind of known for just being laid back, and that's pretty accurate. We're really laid back people.
Yeah, I'd say that. I think that's probably the general idea of the Australian personality is just very chill, just very calm and relaxed and like fun seeking, but without being super energetic.
Well, there's a lot of those sort of people, you know, that are really energetic and gung ho is probably the best term for them. But yeah, like my father's a very laid back man. So I'm going to come out very laid back. But I also think that people who are laid back are a little bit easier to approach as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a little bit easier to talk to.
I like to be a laid back person, somebody that's not like too hard to, you know, I like to be very approachable and that people, I'm not frenetic, I'm not like, but I'm not standoffish.
That's
know,
right.
So.
Oh, man. No, I think this community doesn't have really anyone like that in it that I've encountered.
No, I think everybody's really open and really, really, you feel very comfortable with everybody like right away, very familiar with everybody right away. Or at least the people I've known, the ones I've met and the streams I follow.
Yeah, well, like, you know, some of our friends like Dow, Caro, Robert Jones. Like I actually did a stream this morning with Robert Jones and Bethany Votor and sort of a newbie to AuthorTube called Jasmine Dayton.
Oh. And
because she's been on YouTube for a while, but she's just stepped into AuthorTube. And so I said to her, let's do a live stream. Let's get some people on there with us so we can talk about our AuthorTube experience and you know what advice we could give you because you're just starting out. And we had a ball. We had a really good time. It was a really good stream. And I got to meet Robert for the first time. I've spoken to him 100 times through messages, but never actually in person. And so it was good to actually meet him. We spent 20 minutes after the stream ended just chatting and getting to know each other, which is great. But everyone I've met in the community has been welcoming and warm. There's no community out there that I know of that I've come across that's this welcoming.
I know usually there's like pissing matches about the hierarchy of things and there isn't in AuthorTube. Just doesn't seem to be in AuthorTube at least.
No, it's more so everyone's really, I said in a video that you should embrace your individuality and everyone's doing that. Like Dell is a good example. There's no channel out there like Del Cesaruno's. There's definitely no channel out there like BC Brown's. And I don't believe there's any channels out there, at least with this level of beard, like mine. But yeah, and the same with Robert Jones. His channel, The Story Detective, his channel, everyone has their own theme, their own feel, their own style. And they really, like I said, embrace their individuality. And the thing is, by embracing your individuality, it's a welcome thing. Where in other aspects of the world, embracing your individuality can get you put down or bullied. And it's wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I like what Chasing Epiphanies had to say, that everyone brings themselves up by pulling up the others around them here.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably the best way to describe the community is that, yeah, sure, we all might have our little envies where we're like, oh, I wish I had the 1,000 or so subscribers that other AuthorTubers have, kind of a thing. So we all have like our little envies, but I don't think that any of us have like our particular, like, where we're not willing to just reach out to people, whether or not they have more subscribers or less subscribers or have been on AuthorTube longer or have only been on for a month or so. And we're just like, all right, you're new, you're a potential new friend. Let's see what you have to say, kind of a thing.
That's right. I've been listening to a lot of like neuroscientists of all people talking about feelings and emotions. One bloke actually has a theory that, and it's kind of true, that every emotion has a positive and a negative side. You can have positive envy. Positive envy means you see someone doing well or has something that you would like, and that pushes you to try harder and find a way to get it. And then the negative envy is when you wish ill upon them and you wish that they'll lose that thing. So I think even if there is a little bit of envy, the only envy we're experiencing around here is positive envy. Is people saying, geez, you've got all these subscribers. I'd love to have that myself. And then it just pushes you to make better videos or try something new or separate yourself from the pack a bit more. And there was another thing as well. You're talking about, someone said, Chasing Epiphany said, everyone brings themselves up by pulling up others around here. There is like scientific proof that people who are suffering depression or suffering self-confidence issues or self-esteem issues, when they were put in a position to help somebody else, that started making their self-esteem increase, or make their self-confidence increase, because by helping someone else, I think you realize that you're now of value. So by helping, if I'm having low self-esteem for some reason, or I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going, this is a weak beard, I'm not feeling too good about this, but someone needs help, or someone wants a bit of advice, and people have said, what advice do you have for my YouTube channel? And I help them out. I feel great. Now, it's hard to feel, like I've got a low self-confidence or low self-esteem by doing that. So I think that's definitely true. I think that's why everyone in the community is so warm and welcoming, because everyone feels good.
I have to agree with that. I think there's a lot to there's a lot to the socialization that we do, because we have lonely jobs. We're writers. It's about as self-isolating as you can get, as far as just being a storyteller and the work that you put out. But then I think, so the socialization alone is just something that makes you feel included, which makes you feel positive and makes you feel upbeat. And then once you go from there, that's easy to extend out into, oh yeah, if somebody asks me for advice about starting a YouTube channel and getting started in AuthorTube, I'm happy to say, this is what worked for me. And if it works for them, then great. I'm getting yelled at by kittens.
Well, that's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, torture.
Yes, I agree that there is no gatekeeping. It's all very much, come on in. How can I help you? How can I help you get more comfortable? How can I help you, like?
It's above that. It's like, oh, you want to be an AuthorTube? Well, get in here.
Yeah. Oh, you thought about it briefly for a hot second? Yeah. Just start making videos.
Yeah,
just
come on in. Do the newbie tag. That's a great start.
Yeah.
So I tell people, do the AuthorTube newbie tag or newbie tag too. Some people say to me, like, how do you come up with your ideas for your videos? That's a good one, because AuthorTube is, like, in terms of the amount of AuthorTubers there are, it's quite large. Like, there's a lot of AuthorTubers. I don't think you're ever going to be able to fully separate from the rest, but I always say, have a look and see if you can find anywhere where it's lacking, anything that you can offer that no one else really has done, or you could expand on. Do that. I reckon it pays off. I've been doing that a bit, and I get a lot of new people showing up and commenting, which is always good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you entirely. So Chasing Epiphanies has a bit of a shameless plug. It's okay. It's all right. We're on the topic. You can go ahead and plug away. That they will be joining Doll's stream in the near future, feeling the love of the community. Doll is particularly supportive and particularly wonderful about, like, literally she can be in the middle of her stream and you could say something along the lines of, I wish I had the confidence to stream, and she's like, here's the link, come and join my stream right now, and then you've got the confidence and you'll figure it out. And it's just like, okay.
She's incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's really amazing. She's one of the people that made me feel like it was okay to reach out to other AuthorTubers and to invite myself, I guess, to their channels and to their streams. She was one of the people that made me feel incredibly comfortable doing that. Because before that, I wasn't intimidated, but I was.
You didn't know if there were rules or
yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know what the etiquette was exactly.
Yeah.
It was like I want to co-host on people's streams, but I don't know how to go about doing it, and I don't know how to go about asking people to co-host. And then Dahl was just like, yeah, there's really no etiquette to it. It's just like you kind of invite yourself, you just pop up in somebody's Facebook message and say, hey, I'd like for you to come on my stream, and see if they have time to do it. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
I did the same with, that's not good.
That's not good at all.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I'm hoping not.
But I did that with unscripted.
Yeah.
I did that with Kate Kavanagh. I had Katie Wilson and I, Dahlia Burrows and I. They're sort of like a bit of a group themselves. Start talking about this fantasy creature creation challenge where we have to create a brand new fantasy creature and try and actually draw it.
I saw Kate's video on that.
Yeah, and so I started getting people together for this collaboration, and I messaged Jenna Streety, and we had no contact whatsoever in the past. I just messaged her and said, hey, I'm on AuthorTube. Do you want to do a collab? And she was like, yeah, sure, I'm down. And then she said, do you mind if I get Jessica Williamson in as well? I was like, go for it. And Kenzie Staley, yeah, go for it. And then I messaged Kate Kavanagh and said, hey, I've got these guys in a collaboration. Would love to have you involved. And she sent back, yeah, awesome, I'm down. And it's sort of like I have no fear of asking these really large channels if they want to do that. I even messaged Jenna Morassi and had a little conversation with her, and she had really good reasons for not being able to do it. And I was like, that's fair enough. I totally get it. But she even the fact she even replied and had a conversation was pretty astounding in my opinion. And then Kate Kavanagh, we did that collaboration, which was fantastic. That really helped my growth as well doing that. And then she, I think she was part of WordStock as well. And I messaged her on behalf of Robert, and then I said and she said, sure, just message Robert. I said, yep, get in contact with Robert. And that's how it happened. So I really think there's something to be said for just having no fear in messaging these people you think are going to ignore you. If they ignore you, then no harm done anyways.
Yeah, it's no harm, no foul. You just reached out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anyways, I better get going.
Okay, well, I'm probably going to do one more sprint and then wrap up. So I am really glad that you could. I'm sorry, I got to post up Sage's comment.
Oh yeah, it happens to me all the time.
So at least we know what kind of allergy attack it was. So
yeah. Yeah.
Hi Manish, good to have you here on the stream. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, I love Sage that everybody does have their own version of pretty much, I'm up for collabs. Here's my email, or here's my Facebook, or here's my whatever. Just get a hold of me, kind of a thing. That's one of my favorite things because it was, I've reached out a couple of times to a few different people, and I was like, I don't know if I should reach out or not, and I don't know. And then I was just like, well, they obviously wouldn't have their email down in the box if they didn't actually want people to reach out to them occasionally. So
that's right. And I think I reckon they'd probably appreciate being approached and spoken to as just a normal person. Because I don't know how I'd go if I hit 30,000 subscribers and the first 25 comments on my video are, I see Dan's got a new video out, and I click immediately. I see those comments and I think, please watch the video. you know, if I was in their shoes, please watch the video and comment on what I've put the effort into. Like, at least comment on the video's content. Like, it's good. I suppose it's good to have support like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, you would feel like that most of these people are just like fanning over you, or fanboying, fangirling. To have someone like come in and just be like, "Hey, how you going? Want to know if you want to do this?" I know. I don't know whether I've heard that apparently "how you going" is a very Australian thing. I don't know whether you say "how you going" in America or "how you doing."
Just, yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, or we say "how you going."
How you going?
How you going? Some people reply, "walking by car."
Bicycle?
Catching the bus. I'm not going. I'm staying here. What are you talking about? It's my house. But yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for bringing me in.
No. Thanks for popping on. And like I said, I was just last minute, couldn't sleep. So I figured if I'm going to be up writing, I might as well be up writing with other weirdos.
There's other people who can't sleep want to be up with weirdos.
Yeah, give us all something to do. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm glad that you were able to get some stuff done. And go and have fun, spend time with, the wife and all that stuff while I attempt to keep a kitten off of my keyboard for apparently what has now become a thing.
I thought it was funny when the cat was like, it was on the table behind you, just above your shoulder, but it looked like this tiny little cat perched on your shoulder.
Yeah, so he likes to sit right back here on the back of the chair. And it's like his favorite spot. And he looks like my tiny little orange parrot at this point. So I love it.
Yeah. Too easy. Right. Have a good one. Have fun with your sprinting.
Okay, I will. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. So that was Danny that decided to just kind of pop in. See your sage is saying that's how I got super behind on the comments because I was chatting with Danny and wrangling a kitten at the same time. Yeah, I mean that it's just how it comes together beautifully with the AuthorTube community is that it's just super easy to reach out to people. See, yeah, it never hurts to reach out. It's always something that is, like I think more than anything, it's along the lines of it's flattering to be reached out to. I like it when people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, can I come on your stream?" Or "Hey, you want to do a collab with me?" And I'm just like, "Really? I register on your radar in some capacity? That is amazing. That is super fun to me. I'm gonna lose my shit over my kitten tonight because he's wanting to be super in my business tonight." But that's okay. He's adorable, and everybody likes seeing him anyway. So, yeah, how you going? It does sound like it's very Australian to me. It just everybody wants to pet the kitty. Oh, that's really interesting. A lot of Australian TV for years and years in South Africa. I wonder why that is. I wonder what kind of collaboration that was, what kind of like negotiated deal that was. Yeah, he is pulling off some serious model vibes. Right now, he's decided apparently he's going to just fall asleep in the most awkward position for me possible, which is just me holding him. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. I don't know if my microphone is picking it up, but he is the loudest purrer on the face of the planet. Like, even I can hear him purr, which is saying something for a deaf girl. But okay, all right. So I think we should, because we're almost at the end of the stream, but I would like to at least get one more 15-minute sprint in before the end of the stream. What I will do, well, I was going to say I was going to put my thing back up on the screen, but I can't get my screen to share. I can't get this screen to share. I can get my other screen to share. Let's go and grab, I am going to go ahead and grab a timer, and we'll put the timer up on the screen. That is if I can get it to work. Playlist. We'll do a 15-minute, and since we were talking about doll, we will use one of doll's timers for 15 minutes. Let's see if I can get it without an ad popping up. Okay, so I managed to get it without an ad popping up. And while we're at it, I'm apparently going to be typing one-handed because a kitten, if he's not falling asleep in my hands, has decided that he's crawling all over my keyboard. So, okay. All right, so let's do this 15-minute sprint to wrap up the end of the stream, and then I'll come back and I'll do my little weird outro for those of you that are watching, and hopefully I can get some typing done with a sleeping kitten in one hand, because otherwise he would just be stomping all over my keyboard. So, all right. So starting it in 3, 2, 1, sprint. Okay, that's the end of the 15. Let me know how you did in the comment section. So I don't know what's going on with my program I was writing in, but it froze up completely. So excuse me, I had to restart it. So that meant I was pretty slow, but I did fortunately manage to finish that scene. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I managed to get into the next scene just a little bit, which that scene I already had written, although it's a teeny tiny little scene compared to other scenes in the book. But it doesn't need much. It just needed an introduction of one particular character and an introduction of the, I won't call them the antagonists of the story, but they are a foil in the story. So that scene, it's okay that it's, and apparently I'm finally getting sleepy. Yay! But it's okay that scene's a little short because of that. So Sage was saying that I've reached out to a couple of YouTubers I follow outside of AuthorTube and had mixed responses, but AuthorTubers 100% responsive. I agree. I definitely agree. That makes sense. Grayson was saying that their laptop decided to update in the middle of them writing. That's always fantastic. Love it when they decides to do that. Just decides for you. I think that's one of the main things that I like about Mac is it doesn't do an automatic update if you're in the middle of doing something. Or at least mine never has. Well, at least you passed, so that's cool, and you get another Fiverr verified. So Chasing Epiphanies is one page of editing done from an old script treatment and edited 2 new expressions for my avatar. Awesome. And yes, woohoo on sleep, which I am going to get to. So yeah, it was said about Mac. I love my Mac. I love my Mac. It's called Mac Mardigan from Willow. That is reference to Willow, and it's my favoriteest thing in the world. Oh, hey, Hannah, good to see you. You're researching for a new video. Just researching for a new video on research. I like that you're researching research. That's really cool. I am at the end of the sprint for tonight, or at the end of the stream for tonight, so you did get here towards the end, but you can always catch the replay. You know, I love it when people go back and they actually find me interesting enough to replay, but what's better is that Danny, DR Ranger, was actually on the stream for a bit too, so he's far more interesting than I am, and so that's another reason that you should catch the replay. So yeah, anyway, so for those of you that don't know much about me or might be newer to the stream, I'm BC, and of course this is my channel, BC Brown Books, where we get weird about words in the ways that only writers can, and that is by writing them. For those that are new, I want to welcome my writing weirdos, and also for just a little bit about me, I am a hybrid published author of 7 titles, and I post how-to writing, publishing, and marketing videos every Monday and Wednesday on my channel, and normally host a live stream write-in every Friday from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. I would love for you to come and join me then. I also occasionally do these weird random pop-ups, especially when I can't sleep. And yeah, I just like to get nerdy with my friends about words. Thank you so much, Sage. I appreciate that. Yes, please do go ahead and give me a like. It appeases the YouTube gods, as Sage said, but more importantly, other than making me feel really good, it's more important that what it does is it actually helps get these videos out there to people that are looking for writing streams and are looking for an awesome community to join because they are writers. And we are an awesome community. I mean, we're just an incredibly supportive community, really wonderful. And yeah, anyway, so, you know, Thanks so much. Do give me a like. If you haven't yet subscribed, get weird with my subscription and my notification button so that you are hopefully notified when I do these pop-ups. And I will talk to you all in the future. If there's anything that you want to find me, all my socials are actually up here. This is where you can find me on all my socials, but I have links to everything down below, including my Patreon, my merchandise store, all my books, and all my socials and my website. So I will chat with you all again in the future. And in the meantime, keep getting weird about your words. Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me, Grayson. Hopefully everybody gets a chance to pop in for the 10K day that so many other authors are doing. Dana Gollin of Dana Gollin Writes, Carol Brown, Tamara Woods, several more people are getting together to host a 10K writing day with breaks and things like that. So definitely check that out. That will be going on later today. Hopefully I will be getting a little bit of sleep before then, and then maybe I'll get a chance to pop into those too. So until then, have fun, everybody, and stay weird, okay?